Hey, everybody. I just got home from speaking in church. I go to a church where, rather than like the pastor presenting the whole message every week, different members of our congregation will prepare a message and then share it. And every few months or every few years or whatever, you get asked to speak. And so um, I spoke today in not my own, but um, a congregation several miles away, and the topic was on enduring to the end, and kind of the concept of bad things happen, hard things happen. Um, where do we go from here? How do we get through it? How do we not allow discouragement to overwhelm us, to shut us down completely? And I think as a therapist, I talk about this concept a lot. The majority of people that I'm working with have horrific things that have happened: traumas, grief, loss, mental illness, addiction, and really debilitating struggles. And so I always like talking on that topic when it comes to like this, my spirituality or my religious faith preference, um, because I think they're so aligned. I think there are so many parallels with that. No matter what somebody's religious faith, like how do you identify your values? How do you live them? What do you do when you mess up? What do you do when you are living outside of those values? Where do you go from there? What is your belief in an afterlife, if there is one? And so then when bad things happen, natural disasters, war, illness, violence, heartbreak, grief and loss, traumas, pain, then what? And so I have a belief that things happen for a reason, but I'm very careful. I try to be very careful in not telling somebody else this happened for a reason. This happened in your life for a reason. I think that's a sacred thing that it's a personal journey that people can be on. I try only to say that for myself, that the things in my life, they've happened for a reason. There's a purpose. But I think if somebody else said to me, "Oh, that loss, that grief, that trauma, those hard things," while I was going through them, while I was still in shock over those things, happened for a reason, it would feel insulting. I think it might feel insensitive. It just wouldn't feel good. And so I often caution people against telling somebody else while they're going through pain, "Oh, this must have happened for a reason," or "they're in a better place now," or any of those things that we try to do to make somebody's pain go away, because it's not going away. It's just trying to push it into the corner, swallow it or shove it down, and that doesn't work. And as I left that church, when I got out to my vehicle, I got my phone, and I knew that Grayson Murray had died yesterday. And knowing that he'd exited the day before, he's a Sun Devil. He was a Sun Devil, and so I followed him for a little bit. Knowing a little bit about his history with alcoholism and mental health issues and those struggles. When I found out he had passed away, I worried that it might have been suicide, and his family's come out now and said that he died by suicide. He was the 58th best, ranked 58th in the world as a golfer, as a pro golfer. This does not happen to everyone else. We've got to be done with "oh, that will never happen to me or someone that I know." Suicide and mental illness, addiction issues, they are all around us. I bring this up because I saw something, a few quotes from the family, from his parents, acknowledging his death by suicide. And in my experience, and I know it's limited, but in my experience, there are a lot of family members, a lot of families who, after somebody dies from suicide, alcoholism, or addiction, or something along mental illness or something along those lines, there's a tendency to not want to talk about the darkness and the ugly that is mental health, mental illness, addiction. And so I just want to honor Grace and Murray's parents for being willing. I think it's very noble. I think it's very courageous, and it's very appreciated. I know it's dark. I know it's hard. I know it's a gruesome thing, and it's not something that we want to talk about. But in order to have awareness, in order to try and prevent these things from happening, we've got to deal with this head on. We've got to face this. It isn't something that we can push over into the corner and just say, no, not me, not us. We wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do that. Nobody's exempt from this. I have some strong feelings around suicide when somebody does pass away by it, and others say something about it being selfish. I dislike that. That's as gently as I can say it. It is not selfish. Somebody who passes away by suicide is so desperate and is in so much pain and has a desperation to escape that pain, that suicide, that death seems like in that moment the best option. It's not selfish. Yes, it creates ripple effects of pain and trauma and suffering and loss. Yes, absolutely. Let's acknowledge that. But the person who dies by suicide is not thinking about the effect that it's going to have on everybody else. They are in such desperation, in such despair, and in such pain and torture that seems in that moment to be the best way out. Let's have some grace. Let's have some patience with this. Let's not pretend to be experts on death and suicide and mental illness and addiction issues and how to deal with grief and loss. Let's comfort people. Let's just show up and say, something like one of my favorite therapists I heard say, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just so glad you told me. Let's interpret that to be, I don't know how to fix this for you. I don't know how to take away your pain, but I'm here. I'm here for you. And I'll do whatever it takes. I'm here to support you. You're loved. Something that his parents shared in their message was a question about whether he was loved, whether Grayson was loved. And they said yes, by us, by his brother, by his sister. And they acknowledged some of the complexity and unanswered questions. And in what I consider to be one of the most painful forms of grief, of losing a child, for them to come out publicly and acknowledge what's going on. Again, I'm so grateful for that. I just want to honor that. To my friends and anyone listening, if you ever have thoughts of ending your life, please reach out to somebody who can help. Somebody who will listen, not someone who will shut you down. Whether it be a family member, a friend, a professional, a mental health professional, you matter. This world needs you. You might not understand. You may not see how loved and important you are. But I promise you that you are. We need you. The world is a better place because of the people in it. And for those of you thinking of somebody right now who you know struggles, reach out to them. If it's appropriate, if it's helpful. Just say, I was thinking about you. Just hope you're having a good day. You don't have to text somebody and say, are you going to hurt yourself right now? But reach out to them and say, I was thinking of you. What's going on today? What's the weather like where you're at? What about this sporting event going on? Sometimes it's just small talk. Sometimes it's all we need. It's all we're looking for. Sometimes it's the last thing we're looking for when we're in struggle. And so use your judgment, use that filter, and be mindful. Who can you reach out to try to be a lifeline, to try to help them, to try to support them? So we've got to do this together. The world needs you. I hope you have a great day.